time for the Q&A. So welcome, and if you're here, feel free to say hi. And if you've got any questions, remember that all this is about is every week I'm answering questions. And if you're joining me here for the first time, I know many of you, we know each other. But if you are here for the first time, my name is Kam Property. I'm an investor developer over the last 30 years now. And I also train people so that you can move forward in your property career, business, full-time or part-time. So every week we answer questions, and these questions are coming from our lovely Premier Property community, and a number of you are here right now watching this as well. And what we do is we do these live, they're recorded, and then we put them on YouTube as well for you to watch. And I would love to hear your comments and if you've got any questions and all of that. Okay, so we've got some specific questions there, really interesting questions actually. First question is from Clint. Clint, part of our Premier Property community. Questions around square meterage in terms of how you value properties. We've got a very serial investor, a very experienced investor. Derek is asking about title splitting. We're going to answer that one as well. And also I've got a question here by Pat. So Pat is asking all about land and questions around land, how do you assess it and so on. So we've got 3 really good questions. So let's jump straight into them right now. And look, keep in mind, if you've got any questions, like I say, you can always comment. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to our channel, because it'll help everybody out, and it just means that more people see our videos so they can get more into property. So feel free to do that and click on that little bell icon, if I get the words out, that bell icon that will help you to actually make sure you get notifications of every single video that I'm doing here on YouTube as well. So the first question, jumping into Clint's question, is, hi Cam, can you please explain the figures you use to calculate conversions on build costs, i.e. price per square meter, price per square foot, etc, etc, etc. So Clint, great question, a question that gets asked by many active investors, and here are the numbers that we use at Premier Property. So firstly, it's a quick rule of thumb that we use for new builds. So I'm going to share with you 3 numbers. For new builds, we use the numbers of £2,000 a square meter. That's the number we use. I do not know why I'm speaking in this voice, but it's just coming out like this. So I have it. And by the way, if you're here and you are live here, feel free to give us a little hand raise or a smiley face or pick your emoji or something. It'd be great to know that you're actually here and you're enjoying it as well. So, share the love if that's what you want to do. So, Clint, answering your question, £2,000 per square meter is the number that we use for new builds in terms of build costs, plus incorporated in all of that is all the professional fees as well. So a quick number you can plug in when you're analyzing your deals, and you get it right first time. And you will be, I hope, very pleasantly surprised by that number, because when you actually come to work out the actual calculations, you're going to get it right within 10%. So really good number to use. The second number that I want to share with you is the number for conversions. So if you're converting, but not new building, conversions. So within conversions, it's £1,200 per square meter. So I used to do this in square feet. I'm now converting it into square meters. You can do the conversion, use square meters or use square footage. But in terms of square meters, it's £1,200 per square meter that we use at Premier Property for conversions. And the third number I want to share with you is also a conversion number, but for more complex projects. What do I mean by that? So let's say, for example, you've got a property which you're converting, but in there it's got a lift shaft that you've got to remove. Or let's say you've got a conversion property where there's asbestos, like the old NHS buildings. So in those instances, your conversion costs, because of those kind of complications, becomes not £1,200 a square meter, but that is now £1,500 per square meter. £1,500 per square meter is the number that you want to be using as your quick rule of thumb, so that you know when you're doing your due diligence that you're getting your numbers right. Clint, thank you for asking that question, because you've helped so many people by answering that one. Lovely. Moving up, we're going to go into the next question by Derek. Now, Derek is asking about title splitting, and he's asking title splitting for a single freehold already converted separate flats. How much in advance can you do legal works to your separate leases before sale? Would you recommend good solicitors to prepare leases? So, great question. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, I'm going to read that again slowly. Title splitting, freehold already converted to separate flats. Brilliant. Now, by the way, that's a great strategy. So freehold property, but the conversions have already happened. So what you're doing here, just for clarity, is, as Derek is doing, you can actually find these properties and you can do a legal exercise which allows those properties to be splitting the title. So it's not necessarily a physical exercise. So you're not having to refurbish or create communal spaces because that's already there. You are literally doing the legal process where you're taking a freehold building with these apartments. So let's say you've got 3 apartments, 1, 2, 3, just to clarify this. Those apartments are there under one title. Now what you're doing is you're creating separate titles for each one. So you can buy one, you can sell one, you can refinance one. So you can do this on a separate basis for each one. So that's what we're discussing here. And so when can you start the process? So you can start that process, yeah, absolutely, before sale. So you can decide to start that process typically. So here's some numbers for you. So let's say let's use that number of 3 apartments. So if it was 3 apartments, for example, in a building, you're looking at circa £1,200 to £1,500 per apartment to actually do the legals for that. And typically for the freehold that you need to create, that's £3,500 to around £4,000 for the whole freehold scenario as well. So that is the numbers that you can do in advance, that you can do before exchange of contracts, which means that it adds more value to your property. So I hope that answers your question, Derek. You can do all of that. Yes, you can do all that right now. Also, Derek is asking, would you recommend good solicitors for that to prepare the leases? Derek, you're part of the Premier Property Inner Circle. Just PM me or just contact me. You got my number, and I will recommend you to a very good solicitor. Someone I use personally, and also I recommend it to so many people. She's really good for specifically this. So great question, Derek. Hope that answers that one. And you've also, haven't you, unleashed this onto other people where they're now thinking, oh, what, these are new ways, other ways that you could be doing property. Another great strategy. Thank you very much for that, Derek. Okay. Now, by the way, if you're watching this and you got comments, then feel free to comment. And if you're watching this, live, when it's done live every week, as part of the Premier Property community, then do remember that your questions, we will answer them. Just get them in before 4 p.m. on the Tuesday. Get them in, and what I then do is we'll print the list out, and off the cuff, I will do my best to answer these questions for you, just from my humble experience, so that you can actually move forward. So 4 p.m. is the time that you want to get these questions in by the Tuesday, or comment on, of course, the media element here as well, if you're on YouTube. So the third and final question I want to share with you is from Pat. Now, Pat is asking about land. Now, in 2021, very exciting strategy when it comes to land. So, question being asked is, I inquired about a piece of land. Owner inquired about planning for a potential residential development. It's been refused, Pat is saying. And the planners are saying that they will reconsider it in 2 years. It's greenbelt land, and others are buying and holding. Interesting. So, question is this sort of deal something that might be worth pursuing with a purchase option, or should we leave it alone? So Pat is asking for some clarification. Pat, thank you very much for asking the question, and I'm going to answer this right now. Now, this is the third and final question of today. We're going to go into depth of this, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, then feel free to subscribe. And we're doing this on a weekly basis, so do check in on a weekly basis. So Pat, the thing is, at Premier Property, what we do is we calibrate projects like this, where we're looking for properties with potential, or land with potential for development. Now, we gauge them between 1 and 10. Now, the mistake that many people make when it comes to planning is that they are just gambling on that scenario. So what does that mean? Well, what we do at Premier Property is we calibrate between 1 and 10, like I say, where 10 is yes, 100% guaranteed, it's already got planning permission, and 1, of course, is no chance. So what we look for is a very strong confirmation, which is between the 8 and 10 of that calibration. So what makes it an 8? Well, a really good precedent set in the area. an architect's opinion, you checking the planning portal where it shows you that recent projects have been done, or land has been converted in the way that you want to convert it. So this becomes a strong 8. So what you've done is you've de-risked. Now there is still some risk involved. However, you are de-risking, de-risking, de-risking. So that is the 8 between the 8 and 10. Anything below an 8 is, in our view at Premier Property, just gambling. So you could get lucky. Someone could get lucky on that. Someone could get very unlucky on that as well. So it's a bit of a lottery. You know, you get the odd person that does win. I mean, there are some stories around that. I mean, I know someone, one of my architects friends actually, who did exactly that on Greenbelt land. They tried to get planning on it, and they actually got it, and they had a massive uplift. £100 million plus, £100 million plus, which is nuts, isn't it? But you know what? Those stories are really rare. It is just like winning the lottery. So at Premier Property, one thing that we don't do when it comes to property is gamble. So, you want a de-risked, strong approach where you can really get in there with confidence, and the confidence is important, isn't it? And the confidence starts to build. So what I'm sharing here, Pat, and everybody listening in, is that get that solid confirmation between 8 and 10. So the kind of project that you're describing, we will put that to one side because we're looking for those quick wins, the 8 to 10 calibrations. So I hope that answers your question there, Pat. So I look forward to you asking more questions, coming in with projects which you feel are an 8 to 10, and I'll do my best to share more information with you on these as well. So for today, team, it's been a very short, sharp Q&A, 3 key questions. And if you've got questions that are coming up, what we'll do is, if they haven't already been answered by next week, we will get them answered right here. I will personally answer those for you here as well. And we're doing this in the Premier Property community. Loving it, loving it, loving it. My name's Kam Dovedi, helping you to take your property investing to the next level. As usual, I had too many coffees, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later.